It's funny he uses the term the resistance. Will I succeed in transforming the Democratic Party? Maybe the resistance, meaning the hashtag, the resistance. What are they really resisting? They're not resisting Trump. They're resisting progressivism. That's what they're resisting. And that's kind of ironic that he slipped and said that. It's kind of a Freudian slip. Well, maybe the resistance is, the resistance. Who is this guy? Oh, so you want to start a third party? It sounds great. What are you doing? He sounds like those people who were dismissing him during the 2016 primary. That's what he sounds like. Oh, yeah, you want to have... Oh, sure, everybody wants to have free things under the Christmas tree. Bernie is a sitting senator who runs as an independent every time. And he's saying, nope, can't do it. Very, very heartbreaking to see that first videotape I played and then to see that guy. Very heartbreaking. What changed? What about the guy who said we need to have a rainbow coalition, but it has to start out, it has to happen outside the Democratic Party? What happened to that guy?
These are questions that Bernie has to answer, you know?
I know. But he's not answering those questions. He's not coming on this show. He'll go on your show if you voted for Hillary, right? So if you look at the shows that he does on the left, they're all people who voted for Hillary. He goes on Bill Maher's show. Bill Maher, who on the regular trashes progressivism and calls it every horrible thing that a corporatist calls progressives, and he goes on his show. But here I am, a guy who went to Iowa to cover his campaign, who went to Las Vegas to cover the debacle that was that primary. There's a guy who traveled all over this state when he was here covering him, and he won't come on our show. Why? Because he's afraid to answer questions, and then he has his press handler Josh literally lies to us. I'll say, hey, I thought you were going to get us a date with Bernie. He goes, I have to check his schedule. You have a schedule in your hand, Josh, and so now you're just a fucking liar like all the rest of them. You're just a bullshitting liar. That you're a bullshitting liar to a progressive show.
Any updates on Bernie coming? We already talked about this earlier in the show. He is not coming on. He's ducking the show. Now when I get emails from his campaign asking for money, I'll say I give him another 27 after he comes on. Thank you. He's probably not going to come on our show because I think it's because we have a Hispanic on our show. That's what I'm telling people.
It's because of me. It's because me.
I think that's what it is. I don't know. I'm actually, it's either way, it's very revealing, right? So he's sending a message both ways.
And I'll show you what Bernie's voice is. Sounds like he's been gargling with gravel and sand. And what is that? Well, what that is again Bernie surrounding himself with people who aren't the brightest. The last time, again, I tell you his campaign. They're not, again, you grab people that you know. Right. So Bernie grabbed people that he knew. Look at his old press secretary. Now she's working for Joe Biden. That was a bad hire by his campaign. And by the way, they didn't go on the Young Turks. Right. At the time in 2016, Young Turks owned alternative progressive news. They were it. They didn't go on Cenk's show until March of 2016. That's how, as they were being shut out of all the mainstream media, they didn't go on Cenk's TYT until March of 2016. That's how smart his campaign was last time. And this time, they let him go on TV, sounding like he's about to die. What you're supposed to do, dummies, in the fucking Bernie Sanders campaign is you're supposed to have him pull back. He's 70-something years old. You have him pull back the day or two before the debate so he doesn't blow out his voice, which is what you didn't do, and he blew out his voice, and then he sounds like he's death on stage. The worst performance he had so far because of it. He already has a horrible speaking voice. Let's make it even worse. Let's make everyone think he's sick. That can I throw it to my panel on that? Did you think that was smart? When I heard Bernie speaking, I'm like, these assholes. I bet he was doing a speech 5 minutes before the fucking debate. What did you think of it?
Jimmy, I agree completely.
Okay. Another tactical blunder by the fucking Sanders campaign. The strength of the Sanders campaign is not his advisors. It certainly isn't his political strategy. The strength is the fact that he's unbought. That's his strength, that people think that he's a straight shooter because he is, because he's not taking their money. That's what his strength is. That's all of his popularity is coming on the strength of that, and of course his policies, which come out of that. It's not. It's certainly not because they're making genius moves behind the scene. Hey, I know, we'll have him show up and look like he's knocking on death's door.
Here's why he won't come on our show. So he's not coming. And I talked to Jane Sanders, and she's sympathetic. And I yelled at his press guy, Josh. And I'm sure it's not his call. I'm sure it's ultimately Bernie's call. So it's disappointing to say the least. Biggest, most vocal supporter, certainly this show. But we didn't vote for Hillary. So, but if we would have voted for Hillary, Bernie, if you voted for Hillary, Bernie will do your show. Bill Maher can't get enough of it. Go on Chris Hayes, who wagged his finger, who wouldn't cover Bernie, wagged his finger at an actress, and then did full shows with Trump's empty podium. Bernie will go on that guy's show. Isn't that gross? That's gross.
And those are the questions I want to ask Bernie, which is why he won't come on the show. So they're ducking our show officially. They won't come on. Every time I talk to Bernie's press secretary, Josh says, I have to look at the schedule. So it's insulting to even talk to them right now. Because I have to look at the schedule. He's doing every neoliberal show in the world.
This is the kind of shit I can't take from Bernie. Like, Bernie, stop doing that shit. And if it's your staff, tell them to cut it out. What are you fucking doing? You don't have to do that shit. People love you. You don't have to play their stupid game.
I think Bernie's falling in line, and because he's putting all his eggs in the I'm running in 2020 basket. And, my question to Bernie is now, if they cheat you again, which they will, and you don't win, what have you built over these last 4 years? Nothing, right? If this is the party Bernie thinks he's taking over, I would like the evidence for it, and I would want to know what he thinks that he's going to accomplish. If he doesn't win the presidency in 2020, what has he built? Instead of him and Tulsi Gabbard and Nina Turner and Ocasio all starting a third party, because that's how you start a third party. You need some big shots from the regular party that's corrupted to start a third party. That's how you, and so that's why they go, oh, that's why the Greens have had such a hard time taking off, because they haven't had any big time politicians who have celebrity like Bernie. Bernie had zero power last election. All he was, you know what he was relegated to? Doing speeches for Hillary Clinton inside gymnasiums where 100 people would show up, which proved that people are not interested in Bernie. People are interested in Bernie's policies, because when Bernie stopped talking about a progressive agenda, people stopped wanting to listen to him, and they stopped showing up. And to Bernie's credit, he told people, you shouldn't listen to me. You should listen to yourselves. So he was playing the game, and we got to stop playing their game. He's tweeting today about the Russian election fraud. The real election fraud happened in the primary, which is why we got Trump.
Right.
If Bernie Sanders wasn't cheated, we wouldn't have Trump.
Why is he silent?
I don't know why. I wish that's why I'd like to have him on my show. Bob the Doctor says, I'm tired of Jimmy's doom and gloom about Bernie. Who has a legit chance to be the 21st century equivalent of FDR? Voters will not have another chance. Well, I don't know what you mean by my doom and gloom about Bernie. You mean me criticizing the stupid missteps that his campaign makes? Hey, how about you don't have him fucking gargle with gravel right before he goes on stage at a debate? Is that me doom and glooming him? Or is that me saying what the fuck is wrong with his stupid campaign that they would let him go like that? Is that me being doom and gloom, or is that me just pointing out they're being stupid and they're hurting their own chances of being elected? When he goes along with the CIA framing on foreign policy, Bernie is hurting his chances of being elected. What Bernie needs to do is rile up his base, baby, so everybody comes out to vote for him. That's what he needs to do. And you don't do that by aping CIA talking points about our foreign interventions. Okay, there you go, Bob the Doctor. You got your $4.99 worth. I have met Bernie Sanders. I have not interviewed him. They might not even let Bernie run in 2020 as a Democrat, which that would be hilarious to see happen, because Bernie's putting all his eggs in the basket of he is going to run as a Democrat in 2020, and he thinks he's going to win. And what I say, if they find a way to cheat you again and you don't win, what have you built over these last 4 years? Nothing. You haven't built a goddamn thing. Nothing has been built. You wasted your moment. And the irony is that Bernie didn't instead take this an opportunity to show, hey, here's another example of how the media slanders someone's character and misframes issues. right? Just like they did with him, oh, you made $1 million off a book. He's 70-something years old. He wrote a book. Well, somehow they turned that into a scandal.
Yeah.
So